Hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 233 of our Get Your Goals annual challenge. We're continuing to focus on communication goals this month, and today our topic is listening skills. Why listening skills? Probably because this is an area of communication that I need to always be working on, always be improving. And so I'm going to share a couple of the advantages to active listening. You know, we can listen, meaning we hear people talking, but we're not necessarily listening. If we're listening to respond, if we're listening to interrupt, if we're listening to make our point and picking out just the bits and pieces we want to hear, then are we really listening, or are we just hearing what's being said and not necessarily understanding the intent, the message, and all the things that come along with communication and conversations? And then I will talk about some of the different skills that we could work on improving in order to be better listeners, as well as our action item today. Our action item today is going to be to pick one listening skill that we want to improve this year, before the end of the year, a listening skill or strategy or tactic that we want to consciously improve and make sure that we are a better listener because it. So active listening is when we aren't just listening to respond. We aren't just hearing what people are saying and having it go in one ear and out the other. We're actually engaged and paying attention. We're actively communicating with the other person, because active listening, being engaged, being involved, really stopping, taking a deep breath, and focusing on what the other person is trying to say builds trust. It creates strong relationships. It also can help us to resolve conflicts. Usually, when there's a conflict, 99% of the time, it's a misunderstanding or a misinterpretation by one, the other, or all parties involved because of often poor listening. Active listening prevents you from missing important information. Active listening enables you to identify and anticipate problems, right? Isn't that good? If you see a problem, or if you notice as someone's talking, oh, that's not what I thought, so that's where we're having a miscommunication. You can deal with that right away. You don't have to wait until somebody's really upset or there's a big fight or ruckus over some topic or misunderstanding or disagreement. Active listening helps you to build more knowledge. It helps us to learn. Guess what? We seldom learn when we are talking. We only learn when we are listening or hearing new information or different information, or hearing information presented in a different way than we've heard it before, and we have our own aha understandings and moments that remind us, oh my gosh, and our brain and our subconscious and our memory makes connections that we haven't made before. Active listening, it empowers us as a leader. And we're all leaders in some area or aspect of our life. We're at least leaders of ourselves, and so it's important to actively listen and become a better version of ourselves. I say that all the time. We are constantly on a mission to become the best possible version of ourselves. I think that's really why we're all here. That's why we live. That's why we have these lives. That's why we exist in the first place, is just to become the best possible version of ourselves. Just my belief. So, of course, like anything else on the internet, when I knew I was going to talk about listening skills today, I spent some time doing some research. And of course, anytime you research anything on the internet, everybody has their own different number of lists of different skills and things. So I started out with 4 skills of listening. Then I came up with 6, and then 8, and then 9, and then I just stopped writing them all down, because there's a lot of repeats, but a lot of it is just more detail or broken down of the main ones. So 4 skills of listening. Number 1, pay attention. Be present. Stop looking at your phone. Stop daydreaming. Stop looking at the person that's walking behind the person that's talking to you. Stop doing anything but focusing on the person that's communicating with you, and pay attention. That's what communicating is all about. It's about attending to one another. Show that you're listening, right? Eye contact, be engaged, nonverbals, lean forward, whatever it is. Make sure the person knows that you're actually listening and paying attention to them. Provide feedback. Wait until they take a breath or stop talking, though, because one of the biggest mistakes we all make is interrupting other people. And I'm going to talk about that because I already decided that that's my action item improvement area for this year. But provide feedback. Defer judgment. When somebody's talking and explaining something in their side of a situation or story, just listen to the whole thing. And then take a deep breath and decide how you want to respond. But take in all the possible information first before you choose how you're going to react or respond. So often, in the middle of someone else's sentence, we go off half-cocked emotionally because they only got half their thought out. And we thought we knew how they were going to respond, but we actually didn't know what they were going to say. One of my youngest sisters always getting on me about that. She goes, "You think you know what I'm going to say, and that's the exact opposite of what I'm going to say." Well, then she usually goes on to say what I thought she was going to say anyway, which kind of makes me laugh on the inside. But I never judge her for that. I just know that that's the way she communicates. And then after deferring judgment, respond appropriately. If it's appropriate to have an emotional response, have an emotional response. If it's inappropriate, then don't do it. Do the right thing. Be a good example. Of course, then there were the 6 facets of effective listening. Again, pay attention, monitor nonverbals, very important. You know, are you getting the whole message, or just are you listening to the words the person's saying? And that requires that we pay attention. Paraphrase and repeat back is always a good way of active listening, to make sure you're hearing what the person is and listening and actually hearing and getting the message that they're trying to deliver. What are a couple more that were on this one? Make no assumptions, encourage the communicator to speak, visualize the message you're receiving. That's kind of a different one. So if you want more information about this, there's a write-up, of course, in Guide 17 of the Get Up and Go private Facebook group page. Get Up and Go Challenge private Facebook page, Guide 17. Guide 17, there's just a write-up that I do with a ChatGPT. I'm super upfront about that. I'm just using it as a way to play with ChatGPT. The jury's still out for me and AI. I think that it makes us lazy, and I don't want to be lazy, but I wanted to find a way to add more value, get more information out there on each of the day's topics without having to spend a ton of time and energy doing it. So, not edited, just I ask it a question, it answers, and I copy and paste the question into the group so you can see more information on communication skills and things, listening skills in particular today. And then in Guide 16, the videos. And then prior to that, there's all the 2020 Get Up and Go Challenge videos, as well as some other months of different activities, and then 2021 as well. So there's a lot of information in there about key leadership and management topics that we talk about, mindset topics, goals, objectives, all those things. But this whole challenge is in Guide 16, and then Guide 17 is the write-ups. So you can get more information there, or you can always ask, or you can Google it yourself and find out that there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 30, 15, whatever, different listening skills that you can choose from in order to, or come up with your own, to say what, as our action item, what listening skill am I going to improve this year? Me, my listening skill is going to be to not interrupt. 0 interruptions is my goal. I guarantee it's not going to happen. I'm not going to have 0 interruptions immediately, but by using these other things, by paying attention, staying focused on the person, listening for information and knowledge and what the real intent of the message is, things like that, all of those will help me to not interrupt. But mostly, I need to pop the cork, as my family taught me when I was a little girl, and just wait to respond and listen. A lot of times, and I know this is me and I do this all the time, my interrupting is to get more information or clarification about something because I'm afraid I'm going to forget by the time the person gets to the end of their talking what my question was. And that's a really poor excuse. I'm telling myself that right now for interrupting. So my listening skill to improve is don't interrupt no matter what. No matter what, don't interrupt till the person's done talking and I'm given the cue to go ahead and respond or ask clarifying questions. I have a pretty good memory. I can wait till the end of any conversation, no matter how long, to ask questions. I do not need to interrupt. Grew up in a family of interrupters and talkers. We're definitely a family of talkers. It's a really bad habit that I need to break, and I want to break it this year. So that's mine. So share yours in the comments below, and I will, of course, be with you tomorrow with another communication goal-related topic for this month. If there's one you want to know, you have a burning desire to talk in more detail about a specific, some mornings I need more coffee and can't talk, a specific area of communication and communication goals, make sure you let me know. Just message me and let me know right away so I can include that. All right, have an awesome day, and I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow.